unit labor or routine or areas of concern, a defined tour routine should be established. And the reason for this is you want to be consistent so you don't miss particular problems. And that we have to remember that even though we set a particular schedule to go through the unit, that each client is unique. And the agenda developed for each specific location is designed to focus on the needs of that particular operation. So these are, this is our formalized steps to doing a farm technical visit. So first is the pre-visit preparation, where we review and analyze farm performance, and then the communication about the upcoming visit with either the owner or the farm manager. Then there's the farm visit, implementation of any plans that were made during that visit, the farm team meeting with the owners, and then completion of a farm visit report. Okay, so in conducting a farm visit, how do we decide which way to go? There are a lot of things on a farm. How do we decide what are the most important things to focus on and to work on? So records and reports initially provide an update of recent trends and allows the comparison of performance in specific areas since the last visit. A review of performance levels may also provide a technical service specialist with priorities to address during the visit. It also supplies a technical service specialist with a better understanding of what is going on in the farm when talking to the unit manager. Ideally, production records should be collected for analysis prior to the unit visit. It gives you the opportunity to study and analyze the data and give you an idea of what to focus on prior to going to the farm. Depending on the production program, ask for web access or instruct the unit to email the farm performance monitor and any other reports needed for the visit. Personally, I prefer having web access so that I can pick and choose the specific reports I want, the timeframes I need. Many times when I ask for specific reports, I don't always get what I've asked for. If the unit does not use computerized record keeping system, you'll have to use the on-farm records, and you'll have to wait until you are at the farm to be able to review those typically. Okay, so another very important part of the preparation for a unit visit is communication with either the unit owner or the farm manager prior to the visit. Right, so you want to have contact with the unit owner and the manager to review the records analysis, either over the phone or via email, to get a better understanding of what the problems are at that particular farm. Okay, and then as I mentioned, you want to probe to find out what's most important. What are the greatest areas of concern, and what areas he or she believes need to be focused on at their particular farm. Okay, so in trying to decide how what to look at the farm, we need to understand what the owner wants. We need guidance based on the data. What does the data tell us where the problems are? As well as, while you're on the farm, talking to the farm workers can often give you deeper insight into what's going on in the operation. And then finally, it is the technical service person's own experience. What he knows about the farm, what he or she knows about the farm, what they know technically, what their own experiences are, and when looking at the particular operation is very important. Data analysis. So we need to focus on what is most important to the customer. It is very easy to get lost in all the data. We have wonderful computer reports now that spit out all kinds of data. We must focus on what's most important. So I like to use the example of going to the grocery store. So if you go to the grocery store and you're hungry and you don't have a list, a specific list of what you want to buy, you will go into the grocery store and buy much more, and probably a lot of candy and other stuff that you probably wouldn't normally buy, than you would if you walked into the grocery store and you had a specific list and you bought specifically what was on that list. It is a much more successful trip to the grocery store when you have a list, when you buy the things that you really need versus buying what we would say off the cuff or something like that. So what we try to do is we want to identify 5 to 10 key performance indicators that are important to the client. And then we want to track these same key performance indicators on every visit and every farm report. So the key performance indicators should have a significant effect on the productivity of the farm and its revenue. Okay, so in reviewing the data, we want to look at both the past and present performance of the farm. And then we want to identify specific performance areas that are of interest that we may want to look at more closely. So in this example, I have highlighted the stillborn rate as an area of interest that I want to look at more closely. So how do we make the decision of which problem to fix? What are the guidelines that we use to do that? So I want to talk about the difference between what we call flag levels and a goal. So the goal is a production performance that the owner or the management wants to achieve. It's a higher level of performance. And a plan of action can be written to try to achieve that goal. Okay, and the opposite is a flag level is the minimum acceptable performance for a particular trait. So if the farm does not achieve the minimum flag level for a key performance indicator, a plan of action should be initiated. Okay, the technical manager should create a list of flag levels for each client. So the flag levels should be set by reviewing the production history, evaluating current production trends, and meeting with farm personnel as well as the owners to determine what they think are realistic flag levels. Okay, so this is an example of a specific client, and these are different levels of performance, and there would be pages of this. So the column for Objectivo would be the flag levels. This would be the minimum level acceptable by the farm. And the meta would be, that's the goal. That's where we want to be eventually. And then the first column determines whether or not a plan of action would need to be written if the minimum was not met. So for example, the first trait is number bred per group. And if the farm averaged less than 5% of, so 5% is 5% less than what the target is for breeding goal. If the farm did not achieve that, then a plan of action must be written in order to fix this problem. Okay. So going back to our example, we had identified the stillborns per litter as an area of interest. So when I identified that, I also asked for more records. And so I pulled performance by parity, and then I produced this report to allow me to look at stillborns per litter more closely. So in this example, we can easily see that the problem area, or the older sows, the parity 6 and 7 sows that have a very high stillborn per litter rate. And I did some more further digging, and I looked at the, and it's also easy to see that there are a lot of old animals on this farm. And so the reason why the stillborn rate is so high. So when I go to the farm, I now will know that I will focus on the sow inventory. I will look at the farm replace. So I have information guiding me where. Okay. Also, I always check the parity distribution. So for the farm to maximize its production, the parity distributions are designed to maximize the production of the prime parities, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are the model of parity distributions are based on the farmer's replacement rate. So not every farm. Okay, I always check the replacement rate. So do changes need to be made to the replacement rate? So you have to evaluate what the parity distribution, fixing a farm's replacement rate is an easy way to make additional. So let's go back to our original parity distribution. So in evaluating this parity distribution, in orange, you see what the model, and then you can look at the percentage of inventory by parity. So parity 1 is at 6. So in evaluating this, we can see that there are a lot of old animals. And typically as the animals age out, especially at parity 6, and then when we look at the prime parities, especially the parity 3 and 4, there's opportunity to have more animals that are in their prime. So in a discussion with the client, this is generally an easy discussion to purchase more animals to fix his parity distribution. Okay, so based on the production target levels, is this an important production parameter? If so, create a farm team. Okay, so we've looked at the past and what the current production is, but we also need to look to, so we look at the farrow rate report, and the farrow rate report gives us an idea of what the future number of animals that will farrow, what the farrowing rate. Okay. So we've gathered information from the owner, or we've reviewed data, the overall farm, we've reviewed the past, present, and future. We know about the history, and then the technical service specialist. Okay, so when the technical service specialist has a clear understanding of the owner's perceived needs, then we tour all, and I heavily suggest using a checklist to document your findings. So this is an example of our checklists. We have a checklist for each, and these these checklists are designed to help you focus and remember. Okay, so this is and it's very easy to use. You can give your impression of each one of these items, how well they're doing it, and it gives you and the reason is that it's important to leave the client an immediate. So this way you have a copy for yourself. You can also use carbon paper, where when you write, it just writes to the carbon paper. So this is an Ebbinghaus, and what this curve tells us is how long, when you're teaching, when you're transferring information from one person. So the right part of the graph is the percent retention, and on the bottom of the graph is how much. So obviously immediately that person will know, but in 20 minutes that person will only remember about 58. So the idea here is that they forget very rapidly about what you talked about and the things that you wanted to do. So it's important. Okay, and Choice is working on an electronic version of the checklist now for our sales team and our. Okay, so so we want a tour from the youngest to the oldest. This is the proper biosecurity flow, but it also allows for the logical progression of. So the department visit order should be farrowing, breeding gestation, and then after the tour, then you evaluate the priority areas. So then we go to step 3. So once the unit tour is completed, the technical service specialist should prioritize the department or areas needing attention. So if a plan of action is developed and meets the approval of the owner and the unit manager, the technical service manager. Okay. So meet with the farm manager first to review the areas of concern. So the communication with the farm manager is critical to correcting the problem. So the buy manager is very important in order. So the manager must have an understanding of the technical service specialist's analysis of the situation. The technical service specialist has to gain the final approval from the farm owner before. In some situations, the owners prefer all the unit employees to be involved in the general. It is crucial to meet with the unit owners after. The only effective way for change to occur is to bring so the owners make all the financial and the final. They need to be informed of what is. Okay, so many times the owners. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the technical service specialist to inform the owners of the performance, personnel situation, develop a list of key areas that need to be addressed. So in the meeting with the owner or owners, be prepared with establish an agenda, state plans of action. Breeding stock needs should also be discussed. So this is, we do not want to schedule a meeting with an owner where we do not have much to say. Owners are important people. This is an opportune time to justify the technical. Number 6, completion of the. So steps 1 through 3, complete the actual steps, and the service report should be completed as soon as possible. So remember the forgetting curve. The longer it takes to get your report to the client, the more they're going to forget, and the less chance you're keeping the client and his team focused on specific. So for this reason, I recommend highlighting no more than. It's easier to focus on 3 problems than it is. And that's it.